This is Prof.L.B.Gayakawad'S English Literature Wave. I am Prof.L.B.Gayakawad, teaching on dialogue, lecture first. What is dialogue? Dialogue means a communication. Dialogue means a talk between two persons. In this way, here the dialogue happens in the story. So the story is written by the writer. Every writer writes his story or his novel, and when he writes his story or a novel, that dialogue is given into the mouth of the characters. He creates his characters and he gives the dialogue in his mouth. And so how should be the dialogue? That is the important thing. So the dialogue means the particular communication between the characters, or the dialogue means the particular talk, the particular discussion, or the particular conversation between the two characters or three characters, or suppose 4 or 5 characters. So how should be the dialogue? That is the important thing. So here the dialogue should be well managed, because when the writer writes his novel or the story, or suppose the drama, he should write his dialogue well managed. Well managed means he should manage that dialogue very well. Means he should write that dialogue very well. Means he should write his dialogue systematically. That is called well managed. And that dialogue should be clear and actual. Means the dialogue should be clear. Means that dialogue should not be vague. Vague means unclear. Unclear means it should be understood by everyone. Means when the dialogue will be spoken by the characters, people or readers should understand very clearly that dialogue or those dialogues, and that's why the dialogues should be clear and actual. Actual means what? There should be the actuality, there should be the reality, and that's why the dialogue should be actual or real, because the writer writes his story with the reality in the society, because the story or the novel is written on the actual life of the people, and the writer selects his characters as men, as women in his story or in his novel. That's why the dialogue given in the mouth of the characters should be clear and actual. Actual means it should not be unactual. Means my point is that it should not be false. It should be real. It should be actual, or it should be based on the actual situation. It should be based on the clarity towards the plot, because the writer writes the story only to develop his plot. So that plot should be developed very well, or that plot should be developed very nicely, and that's why to develop the plot of the characters very nicely, the writer should write his dialogues, should make his dialogues clear and actual towards the plot of the characters, because the plot depends on the characters, because the characters are the drivers, the characters are the runners, the characters are the real persons and women in the novel or in the story. That's why these characters make the best story and the best plot of the story, and that's why the writer should write the dialogues very clear and actual towards the plot of the characters. Then communication between the characters means there should be the beautiful communication. Communication means there should be the particular dialogue, there should be the particular conversation, there should be the particular speech or talk between the characters. Means if there are the two characters should speak with each other very beautifully, and their dialogue should be written in well language. The dialogue should be written systematically, or the dialogue should be written with figures of speech, or suppose those dialogues should be written on the basis of grammar also. Means the communication between the character should be well managed, should be clear, should be actual, because this dialogue or those dialogues make the plot of the characters or the plot of the story, and that's why that communication between the character should be clear and actual. Then without it means without the dialogue no plot is possible. Means without the dialogue no plot is possible means if the writer wants to write the plot of the story or the plot of the novel, he should write the characters well. And if he wants to write the characters well, so in the mouth of the characters the dialogues should be very well managed. And if the dialogues will be there well managed, then the plot of the story will be nice. And if the dialogues are not well managed, at that time I will definitely say you that the plot of the story will not be possible. And that's why it is said that without the dialogue there is no plot. Means if there is the dialogue, there is a plot, and if there is no dialogue, good dialogue, there is no plot. Means the dialogue depends completely upon the plot, and plot depends completely upon the dialogue. But the real thing is that the total plot of the story depends on the dialogue. So the dialogue should be well managed, clear, actual towards the plot of the characters. So the characters' open passions means through the dialogue, means it is very clear that the characters speak with each other, the characters make dialogues with each other, and that's why through these dialogues the characters open passions. Now what is passion? Passions means their desires, their feelings, their willings, their thoughts, what they want to do, or what are their minds, what are their dreams, everything is called passions. So the characters open their passions with the help of the dialogues. And if the dialogues are not good dialogues, the characters do not open their passions, their desires, their willings, their thoughts very clearly, and people will not understand the purpose of the writer, and that's why the dialogue should be clear for the characters to open their passions. Then advances the plot movement. It means that the dialogue advances. Advances means what? Makes progress. Makes progress means what? The dialogue makes the progress of the plot. Means that plot is developed, that plot is advanced, that plot is made heightened with the help of the dialogues. And that's why the dialogue should be clear, actual, well managed. So advances the plot movement. It means that the dialogue advances the plot movement. That's why the dialogue should be very well managed. Constitutes the organic element in the story. Means the plot is very important in the story without the plot there is no story. The story is with the plot and the plot is with the story. This is the chemistry, and therefore the writer should constitute or should write the organic element. Means there should be the organic, means there should be the united element, means there should be the unity of the dialogues, that is called organic element. So the writer, the novelist, the story writer, the dramatist should constitute the organic element in the story, because all these dialogues should be united, means all these dialogues should be with the organic element in the story, and that's why it is said that the writer should constitute or should make or create the dialogues with the organic element. And organic element means the unity of the dialogues, means what the characters are speaking, there should be the unity of the dialogues in the story, and then the story will be very successful if there is the organic element in the dialogue. Hence it should be natural, appropriate and dramatic. So it should be means what? The dialogue should be means the writer should write. The writer should write the dialogue which will be natural, appropriate and dramatic. Natural means it should not be unreal, it should not be artificial, it should be natural, means it should be real, or it should be just like the situation, in the society. It should be natural, means it should be the exact life of the society, that is called the natural. So the plot should be natural. Appropriate means what? The dialogue should be very correct. Appropriate means it should be exact and suitable for the situation of the society, that is called the appropriate. That dialogue should be appropriate. And dramatic means it should be showing the drama of society, means it should show the real situation of society, and that is called the dramatic. Dramatic means it should present the total life of the society, the beautiful life of the society, the beautiful life of men and women in the society. That's why the plot should be dramatic, appropriate, natural. And when the plot will be dramatic, appropriate or natural, when the dialogue will be natural, appropriate and dramatic. So the dialogue should be natural, appropriate and dramatic. The dialogue shows character's personality. What is the point here? The dialogue shows the character's personality. Now the character's personality means the greatness of the character. How is that character? Or I will say here that Shakespeare has written the beautiful characters. So Shakespeare has written the beautiful characters only with the help of his dialogues, and so the dialogue shows the character's personality, means the greatness of the characters. Means when the dialogues are powerful, or if the dialogues are well managed, then the personality of the character is very high. It is said there, and that's why the dialogue shows character's personality as good or bad. Means if the character is speaking good dialogues, then we can say that this character is a good character. And if that character is talking some nonsense, or if that character is talking some hitting, then we can say that the character is a bad character. So these dialogues prove that the character is good or bad. Means only because of the characters we can say that the character is good or bad. Means the character's personality is decided on the basis of the dialogues that is called. And it should not have the melodramatic parts more. Means when the writer will write his dialogue, that dialogue shouldn't have the melodramatic parts more. Means the writer should not show the more melodramatic parts. Because of the more melodramatic parts, that story or that novel or that drama becomes very horrorsome. It becomes very difficult to understand people, and it becomes the rather horrorsome atmosphere there, and that's why there should not be the melodramatic parts more. Here we will say that Charles Dickens isn't free from this. It means that Charles Dickens is also a very fail writer in this thing, that he has not written the beautiful dialogues. Means he has written the dialogues. He has become the famous novelist in the world, but actually he has not also got the has not got the particular idea to write his dialogues in a well position, and that's why here we have written that Charles Dickens is not free from these melodramatic parts. In this way we want to say the author should control himself to write humor, pathos and tragedy. Now the point is that when the author is writing his story, or when the author is writing his novel or the drama, the author should control himself, because to write a drama, to write a novel or to write a story is for society. It is the actual picture of society. That's why the author should control. Means the author should not go beyond the rules, and so the author should control himself to write humor. Means when the writer is writing his humor means when he is going to make laugh people, or if he want to make his story very interesting, or if he wants to make people very much laugh, so that humor, so that writer should control himself to write the humors. He should control to write the pathos. Pathos means the very pathetic situation, very serious situation. If he writes only the pathos, if he writes only the serious situations, that story becomes very serious, and so that is the tension to the readers, or that is the tension to the lookers, or that is the tension to the people in society, and it becomes very difficult for them, and that's why the author should control himself to write humor, pathos and tragedy. The plot exhibits. If there is the novel, if there is the story, there is the plot. And if the writer wants to write the beautiful dialogues, then the plot exhibits characters. Because there are the characters, and those characters play here and there with the plot. Without plot, the characters do not play, and that's why the plot exhibits, means the plot shows, the plot mentions, the plot declares that the characters are very beautiful. So if the plot is beautiful, then the characters are beautiful, and the plot depends on the dialogues, and if the dialogues are beautiful, very clear, very actual and very well managed, then the plot is very good, and that plot exhibits characters with their views. With their views means with their thoughts, with their dreams, with their desires, with their feelings, with their passions, that is views, passions, motives, because the characters have the particular motives. Motives means what? They want to do something in society or in life, that is called motives. And reactions, there are many reactions with the characters, And all these motives, reactions, passions, views are very important in the life of the characters, means in the life of the men and women, and that's why the plot exhibits characters with their views, passions, motives and reactions. Dialogue is like a commentary. We have seen the cricket, we have watched out the cricket, and in the cricket the commentary is very important. In this way, in the story, in the plot, the dialogue is like a commentary. And analysis means what? The minute study, the actual study. How is this man or how is this woman? That is when we study of the woman, when we study of the man, minute study or detailed study when we do of those characters, that is called the analysis. And so dialogue is like a commentary and analysis of the writer to make them more dramatic. Means here, if the dialogue is there beautiful or clear or actual or well managed, then this dialogue is a commentary, it is the analysis of the writer, and this dialogue then makes the characters more dramatic. Means the character then become very more dramatic. Means these characters present the real life of the society very clearly. That is called more dramatic. It explains, it means the dialogue explains characters. Inner mind, characters inner mind means what is the character thinking here means what that character is thinking internally, what is the thought going on in his heart, in his mind, that is called inner minds. And so the dialogue explains characters inner minds, and that's why this is very difficult, because when the dialogue explains the inner mind of the character, it means that the character becomes psychological, and psychological is very difficult. And if it is very difficult, then the dialogue should be very clear, very actual and very well managed, because the dialogue is like a commentary and analysis, and also that dialogue explains characters' inner minds. For example, here Adeline Virginia Woolf's complex characters with stream of consciousness techniques. So here we will say that there are many novels which have been written by Adeline Virginia Woolf, who has written Mrs. Dalloway. So when we think of the character Mrs. Dalloway, then we understand there, or we know there, that complex character means that Mrs. Dalloway is very complex character. Why? Because she thinks more and more, because she goes through the stream of consciousness technique. What is the stream of consciousness technique? The stream of consciousness technique means the character thinks more and more. Means the character thinks now in present, then that character goes into the past, suddenly that character goes into the future. Means that character runs always with the thoughts. Means the stream means more thoughts are there in the minds of the characters, again and again, for 5 minutes or means at this minute or at that minute, that characters only thinks, and that is called the stream of consciousness technique. And this stream of consciousness technique characters have been written by Adeline Virginia Woolf, and this Virginia Woolf has become very successful in depicting these complex characters with the stream of consciousness technique only because of her dialogues, because she has written her dialogues very well managed, clear and actual, and that's why Virginia Woolf's characters have become very much real, and they have become very much complex characters, and they have given us the actual real life of the society. Here today we have seen our lecture first, which is or was dialogue. Thank you very much.